Hey yo, prepare to have your ears tortured. It's From the Front Row with the Johnathan T. Rokford.
Fall for it. Most people will fall for things sometimes. Idiots will fall for it every time. It's facts. We're going to get to the bottom of it, though. Because I swear to God, I still don't think that was... Hey, how you doing, folks? It's me, Johnathan T. Rokford, here with another edition of From the Front Row. And, as always, prepare to have your ears tortured, because last week was just banger after banger after banger after banger of a match. And it's funny because you had the GC, game change champ, Beast challenger Tezzeret. Tezzeret beats him. So what does he do? He rolls the dice. He gets the Beast. Beast beats him. Now, when you're looking at that and you're like, okay, it can't get any worse. The Beast challenges El Gordo and Fat Thomas because he wants to see if they both show up. Fat Thomas is smart. Two people showed up. Fat Thomas won, of course. And once again, in an ironic sense, gets the belt back that he relinquished. That's how that shit works. Look, he got back one title that he was denied from controversy. Then goes back and gets the title that he relinquished. It seemed like it was a big waste of time. It was like an unnecessary chapter in the tale of Fat Thomas. But of course, we started the night off with a Bruno match, folks. So, let's move on. As the Ronin, Shona Campbell took on the Wraith and picked up a win. See, I told you, Flip. I told you there was nothing wrong with her. She probably was just tired. She does a lot of things. Now, our next match featured Shark Boy versus Polish Power, and Shark Boy was able to snip that sausage and pick up the win. Get your mind out the gutter. Folks, biggest news of the day was the Darkstalker won a freaking match, defeating Crusher LB after he hit the Black Void. The funny thing was Misfit Row was laughing at him because Johnny Hirako was like, "It's about damn time, dipshit." I think he called him Dorkstalker at one point. Which I don't know why. We all know that's the one that just can't spell. Now, Tezzeret took on Kwani Fist and picked up another win heading into his tag team match. This coming up soon as we head on the road to WrestleMania. The Idol Steve Sampson picked up a win against Luna, who seemed kind of distraught after the loss. We tried to get a word in with her backstage, but seemed to be in the middle of a seance. Yeah. Only thing was, she said that she needed to take some time away. But she said she will be back. Yeah, I wasn't. Look, I learned one thing. Never mess anybody when they're in the middle of messing with dark arts. Okay? Nope. It's more taboo than walking into the back of Spencer's. Now, in our next match, the Super Champion King took on the sponsored athlete Jay LeMasters. And folks, you really need to get Jay LeMasters his flowers. Seriously. I mean, come on. Most 9 times out of 10, you put somebody up against Jay LeMasters, he's going to just beat him. He's going to smash him. You know, we put out a poll recently. Well, not a poll. We posed a question of who you thought was underrated or overrated. Some very interesting answers. And to us, Jalen Masters is one of those that is underrated. Somebody said he was overrated. They said he was a leader of the Killer Goons. I don't know about a leader. I don't think they have a leader. I think they work as one unit. And yeah. But he is a sponsored athlete. No hate on that. But he picked up the win against the Super Champion King. Like I said, folks, I'm only gonna say this one time. Most of these matches were very, very tightly contested. For context, that means they were really close. Like, could have went either way. Now, AKO Jason Shepard took on the Kingpin JP DiMaggio, and in all honesty, no slight on AKO, but I was actually expecting JP DiMaggio to win. Then I remembered it's JP DiMaggio, and no slight, but when he gets into a couple of losses, he gets into a downward slope. He needs that win to get him going back up, folks. But AKO picked up the win against JP DiMaggio. No, I'm not gonna say suck. That wasn't a I suck moment. That was just a misfortune of events, or a series of misfortunate events. That's all it is. That's all he's going through this time. You know, might have something on his mind. You know, WrestleMania season coming up. He lost his title. You know, his girl didn't win the title. I'll get to that in a minute. You know, WrestleMania season is the time when you're kind of up in the air. You don't know what that booker's going to do. Now, in the match, we were kind of anticipating being close because consider who was in the match. We had Big Mel taking on Red Death, the #1 contender to the world title. And folks, once again, gotta give people their flowers, folks. Big Mel picked up the win against Red Death. Now, I'm not going to say Red Death took him lightly. He knows who he was dealing with. But Big Mel, man, I tell you, it's just good comeback after losing tag team titles. Him and Jalen Masters. Good comeback. I mean, picking up a win against an OG for Jay, and then picking up a win against the #1 contender to the world title. That's going to stick in his mind. Now, if we recall, this happened to what's the guy's name? The loudmouth. John Puff. He went on a losing streak, and it affected him going into the title match. Now, will that happen to Red Death? That remains to be seen. Red Death is, he's definitely no Sean Puff. It's actually way better. Now, in our next match, it was Money versus Shepherd Bane, and Shepherd Bane picked up the win over Money. Must not have had his bowl of Lucky Charms last week. But hey, he's still a trios champ. Now, Cats and Corey took on Casper 2779 and picked up a much needed win. And folks, I'm gonna tell you right now, picking up wins. Granted, the booker sometimes doesn't care from what I hear about the wins loss going into the next week when he's trying to make matches, but picking up a win kind of does improve your chances for a better match, maybe even a contender match, even if you've already been in one. You never know. Flip of a coin. Now, Captain Mexico took on the Blueprint Jackson Aries. You know, I'm actually starting to believe, and I can't think about this. I'm actually starting to believe that Starling J is the big IT and the it couple. That she's the lead on that. Is I'm looking at matches, man. He's actually on a Starling J downward spiral right now, or at least it appears that way. You know, but Captain Mexico, our IC champ, did pick up the win. I mean, it if it had been anybody else, I would have said, yeah, dude, you might need to go into some medicine. You might need to go smell some of those candles. Get your chi. But you're up against the IC champ. And my feeling is, if you're a champion here in the league, you should be fighting every chance not to lose. To win their match. Because you never know that next week you may have a title match. If you keep track of pay-per-views and premium live events, you'll know if you got a match coming up. Who you're facing, you might not know. Now, speaking of the Master Sean Puff, he took on David the Beast Smith, who, in all estimations, you know, ending the season, as we're coming to the end of this season, and a reset of, who's on top, who's not. The Beast has stayed in the top 10 for quite a while now. And between him, Jermaine, and Johnny Rocco, those guys have been slowly moving up. Jermaine's the most impressive one because he was in the top 10 at first. It took him a while to get in there, but once he got in there, folks, he just started climbing the ladder. But the Beast did defeat the Master Sean Puff in a narrow victory after he hit a Beast Bomb and pinned the Master. I'm not going to say that this time. Now, Wolf Knight took on Lady Assassin, and Lady Assassin, after losing her title, does what Lady Assassin does. Came back, picked up the win. Good on you, Lady Assassin. So that's it, folks. You lose 1 week, come back next week, tighten those bootstraps, pick up a win, try to build on that. That's how streaks start. Speaking of streaks, Johnny Rocco, after losing to Jermaine Walker, came back and picked up a win versus the Brasso in this is probably one of the few matches where there was this pure domination in the match. It was like Brasso wasn't even there for half of the match. And according to some people, he is an underrated thing. And I could see why. Because I've seen sparks of dominance in the Brasso. I mean, the guy is a former champ. I mean, come on. Just not as talked about. Don't sleep on him, though. Sleep on him, he'll get you. You ain't gonna be in the Killer Goons and just be sucky. But then again, you got Johnny Rocco in front of you. depending on which Johnny Rocker you get, you might have a long night ahead of you. Now, Jermaine Walker and Draven the Sledgehammer took on each other. You know, I swear, you think that Booker doesn't be watching you? It's evident by some of the matches. Draven likes to just poke Jermaine Walker. And Jermaine, not being a punk ass bitch or a pusilamos, pokes back. But why just sit there and watch them poke at each other? Make a match. I mean, they're going to talk trash anyway. You might as well just have them in a match. That way, at least the trash talking gets a little bit better. Fortunately, Draven didn't get no better going against the God, as Jermaine Walker defeated Draven the Sledgehammer in a narrow victory with the black hand side. Did I think Draven was going to beat him? You want the honest answer or the unbiased answer? Both? Honest answer? Hell no. Unbiased? Well, there's always a chance. Now, in our number one contender matches, we had the number one contender match to determine who would go on for the Triple Threat Championship, and it was Money, MF, and Mike, South Bronx Savage, and Texas Hate You in match 1. And South Bronx Savage, folks, you know, when we talk about underrated performers, he's on my list of one of them. And he came through and won match 1 by pinning Money, MF, and Mike. Now, Martel the Carpenter, folks, say what you want. If I'm in a match with Martel the Carpenter, I'm probably going to be watching, be on my A game, because especially if I'm the Dark Star. But it was Martel versus the Emperor 2K Anomalium versus the Street Fight King, and Martel picked up the win, pinning the Street Fight King. So, Martel and the South Bronx Savage will be moving on to the next round. And we had our next number one contender match. It was the WPA Television Championship. Badass Eddie Von Detty versus the Standard Starlin J. And, oh, you know what? You know what I said earlier about the blueprint? I mean, it's subjective. I mean, granted, this week he had a better performance than the Standard. I mean, they both lost. That's no surprise. But she won last week. Yeah, she did. She picked up a win last week. Or not last week, the other week. But, number one contender match. And I'm pretty sure that's why the Booker put her in this match. Because, hey, why not reward her for a win? It's been a while. But, then she did what she does. She lost. Granted, the badass is no slouch. It wasn't an easy match. But I will say she underperformed. She did. I still kind of think, just judging by the last few weeks, or you can see she's kind of the lead on that team there. What? Maybe he just don't want to get in trouble. What is he gonna get in trouble for? Because he wins a match? Yeah. It's a series of unfortunate circumstances. So the badass will be moving on. But I swear the Booker likes giving badass number one contender matches. I mean, every time I look up the guy, almost every time I look up the guy's in a number one contender match. And 9 times out of 10, or maybe 8 times out of 10, he wins those matches, but then loses in the title match. He might need a break from title matches, or at least go for a tag team title. I don't know. But he will be going on to face the television champion. Now, the WPA Triple Threat Championship was on the line as Donnie Boy, who was so proud he finally won his first championship, took on Luscious Lucius and Lycan Umbros. And Lycan Umbros, folks, I gotta applaud that guy. That guy's been going through some shit. What's the best way to overcome a bunch of losses is by picking up a title. And he is your new Triple Threat champion after he pinned Luscious Lucius. Luscious Lucius, I think he won that one match, but it was kind of dominating. But other than that, just really substandard. Not even mid. Substandard performances. Other than that 1 week. That 1 week, he dominated. I don't know what was into him. But he probably should have saved that for this week, because then he'd be a champion. Now, of course, keep in mind the task at hand for Lycan Umbros. 4 matches. 4 successful defenses. And he will get an automatic IC title shot. Now, hopefully he doesn't do what he did the last time. He gets suckered into relinquishing the title by going up against somebody. Doesn't matter who. Folks, don't ever put your title on the line if it's not a title match. If you're going to do all that, you might as well just put the title on. Go title for title if you're going up against another champion. Don't let them talk you into some stupid shit. Take your ego out of it. Now, our television champion, Johnathan, was taking on Mac Blakely. And I was actually rooting for Mac Blakely. You know, you want to talk about somebody that flies under the radar. Mac Blakely, he's one of those guys. He could do some things. He can give you a match. He gave the television champ all he could handle, but in the end, he succumbed and picked up the loss as Johnathan retained his title. Now, in the match, I swear to God, I don't know how he did it. You know, if I hadn't been sitting there live, I would have thought it was pre-taped. But it was Fat Thomas versus El Gordo and Nascamada. I'm just tongue-tied right now. And Mascarado. I don't know how he did it, but he got a guy in the ring with him, with a mask on. So we can excuse the fact that he wasn't sitting on Misfit Row because he was in the ring. Of course, there was that Johnny yelling fake news the whole time the match was going on. But Fat Thomas did pick up the win versus El Gordo and then Mascarado. And yeah, we called that one. It just makes more sense. I mean, if you're gonna pretend to be somebody, you might as well win as yourself versus losing as the El Gordo. Yeah. You know, one day we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Oh, we're gonna get to it soon. I can't take it. I gotta know who's under that mask. What if it's not Fat Thomas? I mean, shit. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Judging by those pecs, could have made a case for Luscious Lucious, but the mask wasn't flashy enough. Nah, that shit would have been flashy as hell. Plus, that guy ain't covering up. He needs to cover his face up, but he ain't covering his face. Now, in our last match, main event, folks, as the Women's International Championship was in the spotlight, and two women who can put on a match, folks. Every time they're in the ring, this is banger after banger. It's fire. Siren taking on the First Lady, Alexa Leslie. And once again, Siren was able to defeat the First Lady, retain her title. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, she's got a tag title too. When she's going to defend that? Well, folks, she's going to be busy in a couple of weeks. They'll probably get a break this week. I mean, they couldn't possibly put her in no match as tough as going up against the First Lady. But she will be probably in a tough match to get her ready for WrestleMania. But she and Cesaro are slated to defend those tag team titles the week before WrestleMania. Because at WrestleMania, it only makes sense to spotlight and give that title a stage at the biggest show. At the show of shows. Man, I know she'd like to be there with her. Man, but sometimes women like to stand on their own, have that spotlight on. Who her opponent will be, I guess we'll find out soon. I'm assuming during that week they'll probably do a number one contender match to determine who's going to face her. While she's defending tag titles, there'll be a 1, maybe 2, 3, 4 women trying to figure out who's going to go try to take that title off. But that's all I got, folks. Last week's matches, congratulations to all of the winners. And as we get ready for this week, matches are already posted. Go see what it is. Which match am I looking forward to this week? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm actually looking forward to the match between Jermaine Walker and Tezzeret. Yeah. That's the match. I'd like to see how that match works out. I mean, I think Jermaine's running out of opponents. I mean, he has a tough one coming up for Red Death. And honestly, it's like the Booker that's how he trains though. Gets in tough matches against tough opponents before he has a title shot. Before he has a title match. Because by then, you should be good to go. I mean, you can't. I mean, maybe the God, but you still need to put in that. Get that practice in. Not that Tezzeret is a practice match, because Tezzeret is no slouch. But these two have faced each other before. That was a banger of a match. What match you're looking forward to? Johnny Rocco versus Siren. Ooh, that could be a good match. What other matches are here is pretty good? Let's see. Oh, Blueprint versus Luscious Lucious. That one should be interesting. I might have to actually go down and watch that match. And I see they have the sponsored athlete, Jalen Masters, in a number one contender match. He wins that match and wins the television championship. Goes into WrestleMania as a television champ. I know he's going to be there. That's all I have, folks. Stay tuned. W's pick of the week. Always. You love. You got phone call that friend that might need to hear your voice. Be a saving grace in their life. And as always, folks, try. Don't try. What flavor is it? Well, actually, it was red mixed with some blue. You know, I don't think I need to give you any context on that. Huh? Yeah, I know. I can't believe they fell for that. Hello, WPA. Once again, it is your honor and privilege to hear my voice come across your screen as I divulge to you my pick of the week. As always, my picks are not willy-nilly. They are very thought out and careful. In a week where there were, as Johnathan put it, banger matches, I will commend you that you made it hard to make them select an individual. But of course, there's always one that stands out. There's always one who has that certain je ne sais quoi. This week, I select Siren, defending her international championship against one of the toughest ladies in the WPA, the First Lady Alexa Leslie. She was successful, and now she will go on to defend her tag team titles with her partner Tezzeret, before once again taking on her next challenger at WrestleMania. Now, true, she does have a nice test this week, but I think she should do okay. It will be a tough match, and should she survive this one, she will come out stronger and more dangerous than before. But that is it, folks. I don't like to drone on. It really doesn't take that long to find a selection, even though there were multiple picks I could have made, and none of them would have been wrong. So until the next time, WPA, I bid you a good day. I said, good day.